Good afternoon. Hello and good afternoon, New York. How is everyone today? I saw that the weather is in the 60s, 70s in the state. Hope everyone was able to enjoy the weather and got to go outside. We just had a heat wave here in California. We had temperatures over 90 to 100, so it just started cooling down. We have so many great organizations joining us today. I'm seeing some YMCAs, YWCAs, SPCAs, and some art centers and theaters signed up. We're going to wait one more minute for more attendees to join before starting the presentation. My name is Janessa Ponko, and I'm so excited for everyone to join us today. I hope you're all able to use your Uber Eats and enjoy your lunch while watching this. If you didn't get to use the code, it should still be good to use until tomorrow, Friday, at the end of the day. And at the end of this presentation, I'll be following up with the email to provide the HRCI and Shroom credits. And if you have any questions today, I'll do my best to check the question box and get back to you as soon as possible, as these questions will be saved. If you want any further information, feel free to respond to the email I'll be sending with the credits. And we're also going to send a recording of the presentation you can share with your colleagues. Today, we're going to talk about New York nonprofits and unemployment. Before I get started, just want to do a quick introduction of myself. My name is Janessa Ponko, and I'm the membership development representative here at 501c Services. I've been in sales since 2016, selling vendor boot space at a wedding fair for 3 years. I've set up meetings for tech startups during the pandemic, and I started scheduling appointments with nonprofits here at 501 since July 2023. I'm really excited to be part of a company that's been helping nonprofits save time and money that can go towards furthering their mission. Our company is located in San Jose, California, so we're in the heart of the Silicon Valley, and we're dedicated to helping nonprofits reduce unemployment expenses across the nation. And thank you again for joining to learn more about cost-effective strategies and managing unemployment in your state. We're going to provide a broad overview on how unemployment insurance works, alternatives for 501c3 nonprofits when it comes to unemployment, how reimbursing works. We're also going to use some real life examples of nonprofits we've helped with our cost analysis. And finally, we're going to provide more information on our company 501c services and how many of our New York nonprofits, we have around over 50 nonprofits that have benefited from our services. First of all, just wanted to start off with a little history to put unemployment in perspective. Unemployment started in the US in the 1930s following the Great Depression and New Deal, where the federal government wanted to create a safety net for workers who lost their jobs through no fault of their own. From 1930 to 1972, 501c organizations didn't pay into unemployment benefits for separated employees. Although this saved nonprofits money from paying these taxes, employees that were laid off couldn't reap the benefits of having that safety net that for-profit companies provided. Now, fast forward to 1972, the federal government changed the law under the Social Security Act to where nonprofits must pay into unemployment, but were provided different options in how they pay so that the tax wouldn't be seen as an unnecessary expense for them. Unemployment is overseen on the federal level. However, each state gets to manage their own programs however they choose. So throughout the US, you'll see different taxable wage bases, tax rates, benefit amounts, but today we're just going to cover information here in New York. When it comes to management, unemployment rates can be adjusted annually and are adjusted by experience. So for instance, if you have a year or two bad of claims or a year or two of bad claims, your tax rate will increase. And most states, including New York, run as a risk pool. So what you put in doesn't necessarily equate to what you get out. A lot of nonprofits are putting more into the pool than what they're getting out from what we're seeing in our organization. And these total tax liabilities by employers are often greater than the claims paid with reserves used in times of recession. The tax liability is calculated by multiplying the taxable wage base and then your employer tax rate. So take a guess on what a single claim can cost in New York. So I'm looking in the chat box. I'm seeing $5,000, $7,000. I see a $10,000. So just to give like a little hint, the total cost is looking at the weekly benefit maximum times the maximum number of weeks someone can claim. So that maximum number of weeks, just as another hint, is 26 weeks. So I'll read two more guesses. I got 8,000, 9,900. So the maximum amount a single person can claim in unemployment in New York can cost $13,104. Just as a caveat, this is what an employer is charged for employee benefits by the state. Those extended benefits you saw in the recession and extra COVID payments were covered by the federal government. So the maximum weekly benefit amount in New York is $504. And when we multiply that number by 26, the maximum number of benefit weeks, is how we get that $13,104 for the maximum of what a single person can claim on unemployment in New York. The federal government sets the wage base at a minimum of $7,000, and there is a maximum. In 2024, New York's taxable wage base is currently set at $12,500. So that means for the first $12,500 an employee earns, your organization is taxed on that. So the majority of employers in New York may pay their taxes in the first quarter. You might see that taxes paid in the first quarter maybe, or paid after the first quarter, maybe for seasonal employees, new hires, or employees making less than that $12,500 in the first quarter. So in the next year, 2025, the taxable wage base will go up to $12,800. For several years now, the taxable wages in New York have been going up slightly, usually around $200 to $300 each year. The increase in taxable wages will increase your SUI even if your tax rate remains the same. For example, an organization with 50 employees that is paying 5% in SUI will pay an extra $1,250 in SUI in 2026 compared to 2024. And the minimum tax rate in New York is at 2.1%. The maximum tax rate is at 9.9%, and those are both set by the state. There is a 0.075 reemployment fund that is added to all tax rates unless you're at that max rate of 9.9%. So the last thing to note is the improper payment rate, which is at 22.81%. And this overpayment equates to almost $693 million in overpayments to former employees who are collecting unemployment. This is information we get from the Department of Labor. And you'll see that New York is one of the many states that is greater than 13%, nearly close to 23%. This is really important to know as we really encourage you to look over your claims and make sure that you're not overpaying for anybody's claims. Here at 501, we help organizations monitor this, but if you are managing on your own, you want to make sure that you're properly charged for a former employee's weekly benefit amount. So there are three different alternatives for unemployment. One is that you pay the state tax that we mentioned earlier with the tax rate that is set by the state and taxable wages. Another option is that you can self-insure reimburse for your unemployment, where you just pay dollar per dollar for your unemployment claims. So you're basically only paying for the benefits issued. And then the last option is kind of a hybrid of both, where you buy insurance that offers the savings of reimbursing while also providing that safety net. So just to let you know, reimbursing is not for everyone. The qualifications that we look for considering reimbursing is that an organization must be a 501c3 nonprofit, excluding religious institutions. We recommend a gross annual payroll of $1 million or over, because typically if your payroll is under $1 million, especially significantly less, what you're paying into the state tax pool is probably pretty minimal, and you might not see much significant savings opting out. However, there are some scenarios where you could see potential savings, so we'd be happy to look at your numbers, even if you're slightly less than 1 million. We also look at a positive audit of the past 3 years. So that means in order for reimbursing to benefit you, we try to evaluate if what you paid each year in taxes exceeds what you pay in claims. And we also want to make sure that there isn't any major disruption in funding for the next 24 months. So we recommend to stay with SUI if you know you may have anything from layoffs or a reduction in workforce, losing funds, closing programs where your tax rates may go up with experience. And you'll probably want to wait once those claims decrease. What it means to reimburse is that your tax rate turns to 0%. And the state will bill you only for the unemployment claims you receive over the quarter. It's a great way for nonprofits to save money, be a better steward of donor dollars. The process is seamless for separated employees. No matter how your employee is separated, they'll still go through the same process for EDD. The state will determine their benefit amount based on their base period pay. The only change is how the quarterly bill is calculated. Instead of the state unemployment insurance tax, you're now only responsible for the charges your organization incurs. We work with 1,500 nonprofits, and more than 50 of them are located in New York. So you're probably wondering what motivates them to reimburse. In most cases, reimbursing saves money. On average, savings can be anywhere from 20 to 40% compared to paying for SUI. And this is really the driver for most organizations to switch. Reimbursing eliminates any concern of changes in the state, such as tax hikes that you can't control. You become a better steward of donor dollars as you just pay for your actual claims than into the state pool. Because unemployment is managed by the federal government big picture, reimbursing is allowed in all 50 states, best with employers with over $1 million in payroll and at least 15 or more full-time employees. If you're on the borderline, we can still certainly talk, as sometimes there may be circumstances where we can consider reimbursing for your organization. If you're smaller and reimbursing already, we can still consider you for our services and how we can help you reduce your risk. There are a couple of different strategies for reimbursing. The first is to manage your own program. This can be a little risky with the highs and lows of unemployment, and you really need to make sure you have budget for these claims and that your team is diligent with managing, auditing, protesting, and paying claims to reduce risk and to prevent overpaying. Another option is to outsource, like using 501c services to help with the administrative work and managing the challenges that can come with unemployment claims. And we also have a trust where you can put money aside. And then the third option is to purchase insurance. At 501, we do offer insurance programs that are a little more expensive than the trust and offer different levels of protection. So I do want to talk about how SUI is calculated. And like I mentioned earlier, I'll show some real cost assessments we've done in the past. The taxable wage base is customized by each state. In New York, the taxable wage base is at $12,500. All employers in the state pay the same taxable wage base. It represents the first $12,500 of each employee's annual pay. There's no maximum and can increase or decrease by any amount each year. The tax rate is set annually by the state and is based on experience. So to calculate the contribution amount, you multiply the taxable wage base by the tax rate. So for New York, it's that $12,500 times the range of 2.1 to 9.9%. So for this amount, it means that if each employee makes over $12,500, a company is paying in between $262.5 to $1,237.5 per employee in unemployment. In this first example of the human services nonprofit we worked with, the taxable payroll was just shy of $1 million. The tax rate was at 4.7%. Estimated claims only around $200 per year. And in this case, we looked at a 3-year average of claims. So they were overpaying $45,000 a year. Think of what you could do with an extra $45,000. In the next example, the taxable payroll is around $700,000, tax rate 3.38%, estimated annual claims is $5,900, estimated unemployment taxes were around $24,000, so they overpaid around $18,000. So here is a sample of a New York tax rate notice that gives us some of the information we need to do for a free cost analysis for your organization. The top highlighted portion on the right is the tax rate, and there's the reemployment service fund you add together with the tax rate. Line item 1 is the account balance of your organization. And as you can see, this organization overpaid around $50,000 throughout its lifetime in taxes compared to benefits. Line item 1A is what you paid in SUI the previous year, and 1B is what you paid in benefits. In this example, the organization had an overpayment of around $16,000 this year. So at the end of the year, their account balance went from around $50,000 to around $65,000. With looking at these numbers, it may be more beneficial for this organization to switch from paying SUI to reimbursing, where the tax rate would go to 0%. They would only pay for their actual claims, and they could see potential savings. Also, there isn't a need for you to understand each line. We're happy to look at your form and go over all these numbers with you. A little bit more about our company. We were founded in 1982 by a former UCP executive, John Hugstad, and he was looking for ways to save money for his organization. So he came up with the idea of starting a trust. He created the first kind of grantor trust, the Joint Unemployment Compensation Trust, that eventually became 501c Services, 501c Agencies Trust. We started at about 25 members here in San Jose, and have now grown to helping over 3,000 nonprofits in various ways. In 2016, John sold the company back to his employees, so we're now 100% employee owned. From our receptionist to the CEO, every member is committed to our company and serving our members. Our services are valued tremendously by our members, with our company having over a 98% retention rate. And here are a couple of testimonials our members have shared, and you can also go back to these later as I'll send the slides after the presentation. So this is a clip from our 40th anniversary celebration a few years ago.
What makes me passionate about working for a non-for-profit organization is because I knew I always wanted to work for a mission-driven organization. Passionate about working for a non-for-profit organization is because I knew I always wanted to work.
My apologies. I will start the clip over. So this is a clip from our 40th anniversary celebration a few years ago that includes testimonials from Anika Lund and Mike Hoffman from Start Early, Mary Sue and Michael Eady from CISC, Sandy Leota and Chris Marshall of Baltimore Center Stage, and Phyllis Austin and Jason Penegar from Boys and Girls Clubs of America.
What makes me passionate about working for a non-for-profit organization is because I knew I always wanted to work for a mission-driven organization.
Our mission is to work with immigrant communities so that they can achieve the American dream.
501 helps focus our service to the community by giving us more time. 501 helps us focus on serving our communities by providing services directly to our HR professionals.
The biggest benefit for working with 501 is really the transparency and ability to forecast our costs when it comes to our unemployment benefits.
They also keep our cash flow steady through claims that are sound and take a lot of the admin burden off of us so we can just stay on autopilot.
We're very grateful for all the support you provided over the last 4 decades, and we wish you continued success in the future.
Congratulations, 501, on your 40th anniversary. It's been a pleasure serving with you for the last 24 years.
And like I said earlier, we do work with over 50 New York nonprofits. And here's a quick snapshot of these members. So how do we help our members? The first way we help nonprofits is through our claims management. Our team will help you audit and protest claims. We have unlimited access to hearing reps. Our team has an 87% win rate with protesting. You'll have a dedicated claims manager once you become a member of the trust, and all of your claims will come through an online portal where you'll be notified that a claim has been filed. You can go into the portal to respond to the questions. And if in any case you go on PTO and forget to delegate unemployment tasks, it shouldn't be a problem. For when a claim isn't responded to in several days, it gets escalated and handled. A big part of our claims management is that our team doesn't want to see you overpay or get hit by those New York error rates. So we can audit those charges for you or prevent you from paying a claim when someone gets terminated. We want to make sure that you're managing these claims and have enough support to do so. Our HR services include 3 components. We offer access to unlimited HR consultations for a small dedicated team that can answer any of your HR related questions. So if you have an ongoing issue, you can develop rapport with a person who can support you and manage any of your HR questions. Our HR services have trainings throughout the year that are HRCI and SHRM certified. And there's also an online knowledge library with our HR services. With the 504 maximum weekly benefits here in New York, our goal is to help you keep that cost as low as possible. If you're ever laying someone off, our reemployment tool lets you offer packages that can range from online coaching, interview techniques, and resume writing. It's never fun to let someone go, but at least you can give them the safety net and resources to help them secure a new job faster, which in return can help your organization save more money. The protection is the insurance part of our program. Most of our members take our stop loss protection, which helps our members during catastrophic claims. Other than catastrophic claims, for managing the highs and lows of unemployment, we have the trust account. This is a reserve account held in the trust, owned by our organization, where we can help you manage those possible unexpected number of claims. So I hope this sparked your interest in maybe some of you may want to manage your unemployment through us as a reimbursing employer. If you wanted to look into potential savings, what I would need from you is your 941s or estimated payroll from 2023 to 2024 as a reimburser. And if you're paying SUI, ideally, we would like to look at your last 3 years of tax notices. If you're only able to locate your 2024 tax rate notice, don't worry, we can also work with that as well. So I do see a few questions in the chat box, and I will provide answers to these questions in the follow-up email, along with a copy of the slides and credits in the next few hours. If you're still typing a question as I log out, please feel free to respond to my upcoming follow-up email. Thank you so much for watching this presentation, and looking forward to speaking with some of you soon. And here is also my contact information if you have any further questions. And thanks again for joining the webinar, and hope you guys have a great day.